Alright everyone, Mr. Doe here. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up your notebook. And for your math notebook this year, we're going to try and keep it simple. So in this video, I'm going to show you three things. You're going to design your title page, you're going to number your pages, and set up the table of contents. Alright, so here is your notebook. I just opened to my first page. Notice that my notebook is a little bit smaller. I'm at home right now, so I don't have the bigger ones. But if you have the smaller ones, that should be fine. That should work too. So on this first page, I want you can get some markers if your teacher has any markers. Go ahead and put your name, your teacher's name, course title, and period. So this is going to be for Integrated Math 1. This is period 2. My teacher's name is Mr. Doe, myself. So I'll just make up another name, Amy Polar. Okay, this is very basic. Feel free to design it, show your teacher your wonderful art skills. So this is your title page. That in the case that you lose your notebook, we can find out who it is and return it to you. Down here on the bottom, I put a 1 because this is the very first page. You're going to continue numbering these pages. So page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here, and 7 over here. Go ahead and pause this video and number your pages all the way up to 100 for now. That way, whenever you put something into your notebook, you can instantly record what page number it is. Okay? All right, go ahead and pause the video and number your pages. All right, and next we are going to set up our table of content. So in our class, we're going to have a table of content for each module or each unit, and your teacher should have given you one of these handouts. If you want, you can skip a few pages. That way, if there's any reference materials that your teacher will give you, you can have them here at the very beginning. So I will actually start on page 9. Okay. So it doesn't really matter. We're all going to have different pages, but as long as you're recording what handout goes where, then that is fine. So for your table of content, notice how because my notebook is a little bit smaller, it doesn't quite fit. So normally, for the bigger notebooks, you would glue the top, just one line of glue, put it right here, and that way you can flip it up and down, okay? But for me, I have to resize it a little bit, and that's okay. All right, so I'm gonna cut mine out real quick. You might need to ask your teacher for scissors. Again, if your notebook is the bigger size, then you don't have to cut it. All right, and here's the tricky part. You might mess up here. If you do mess up, ask your teacher for an extra copy. This table of content is going to be for module 1. So I want to cut out just the tab, so it's going to stick up. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of module 2, 3, 4, and let's just say 5. So I'm going to cut that part out. Again, we want module 1 to stick up. Later on, when we go into module 2, you're going to cut out the tab for module 2. Right, and here we go. So notice how that is sticking up. That way I know when I close my notebook, it's going to say module 1 at the top. I can use that tab to easily find where module 1 starts in my notebook. All right, so go ahead and glue this down. Don't use too much glue. I would just do one small line of glue or just four small dots. That way your notebook doesn't get soggy, and it's not, if you mess up, it's easy to peel off. Right, and there we go. There is my table of content page for Module 1. So for IM1, Module 1 is on statistics. So this is where the title of that module goes. And there we go. So from here on out, you are responsible for recording any notes or any handouts onto this table of content. So for IM1, as an example, the first activity we did on an actual handout was how high can your teacher jump, right? So you would record that, record the date that you did that activity, record the title, so how high can your teacher jump, and we're going to find a home for this handout. Typically, your teacher will give you the handouts in chronological order, so when they happen, and that would make the most sense. So I would just put this on to the next page, which is page 11. Again, if you have the bigger notebook, you can just glue this in. You can do a line of glue at the top or a line of glue on the left, depending on how you want to flip this handout. You can flip up or flip left. That's up to you. For people who have smaller notebooks, here's what you could do. I'm going to fold this in half, but I'm going to leave it so that the title is still showing. That way I know what this handout is. So I'll just fold it in half. That way it fits nicely here. And I might need to turn it. That's okay. So I'm going to do one line of glue in the back. And put it here. Okay. So now you have a page that captures that handout. And the extra space that we have here, sometimes your teacher might ask you to do a summary about the activity, or you can put notes to yourself. So you can use your blank space to kind of say, what did you learn here? That way, when you look back at it, you can review and use these as your notes. So this lives on page 11. I'm going to go back and record it and say that that handout lives on page 11. All right, so that is how you would glue in any handouts that your teacher gives you. Sometimes your teacher might ask you to just use a blank page in your notebook to either take notes or do practice. So let's say I was taking Cornell notes. So let's say this was notes on two variable statistics. This is page 13. So I would take notes here, right? So question, 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 notes, notes, notes. This was not a handout, but I still want to record what I did on this page. So I'm going to go back here to the table of content. I would say notes, two variable statistics. Again, this is meant to help you find those pages easily. And this was on page 13. So if you're someone who takes a lot of notes, let's say you took notes on page 13, 14, and 15, right? So let's say your notes continue here and here. Continued, continued. Then you can put a page range. So I didn't give myself enough space, but this would be 13 through 15. So whatever makes the most sense for you, but they have to be organized. When we look at your notebook, we're going to be checking this table of content to make sure that everything we give you goes in here. That way, everything is in one place and you can use it to review. So that is pretty much it. Let your teacher know if you have any questions.